Well, Marcel, it's a pleasure to meet you. I've watched a couple of your other films,
Oh,
besides Le Petit Mort and Le Petit Mort 2. I've both
oh,
seen. If I've pronounced those right, if I haven't, I
totally fine.
apologize.
I'm not French either, so but it sounded pretty much on point.
But today I appreciate taking time to talk about your new film coming out digital on the 25th. It's having a premiere in London as well, and it's called That's a Wrap.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
so before we get started, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing?
No, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. I actually just got done talking to Monique a little while ago.
Oh,
So
really?
parent,
Oh, she's
yeah,
awesome. I love her. She's great.
it was a lot of fun. And so I have a couple of questions for you. No,
Go ahead, do it.
well, but what I usually like to start off, if you wouldn't mind giving my listeners just a little summary of maybe what That's a Wrap is about.
From my side?
From your side, yes, I love
From
I,
my
I
side.
love
Okay,
I
so
love getting the director's perspective
yeah,
of
yeah, 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 yeah. So I mean, that's a wrap is I would call it like a horror movie with comedy elements, or is it a horror comedy? No, it's I think it's a horror comedy. With it's a meta slasher giallo scream version.
that's that's a good summary. I like
That's I
that.
think that's what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. It's bloody. It's colorful, and yeah, yeah. I think that's what it is.
The rap party gone wrong or right,
Yeah,
depending
that's
on
a rap
who
party
you
we don't
ask,
want to
right?
have.
Yeah. Depending on who you ask, maybe right or wrong. I don't know. It depends on how the filming went, right?
The filming went great. So, but still, that's something. It was actually like having a rap party. That was the fun part of it. Actually, that's something I have to share with because now the movie's very meta. Even the shoot was meta, and even the rap party was really meta because then we had a rap party about a movie having a rap party about a movie called That's a Rap, and we that movie that's right. It was a mess actually at the end. At the end, we were standing there. So what are we doing? What is it? What? Yeah, it was, but it was yeah,
Are we on set now or are we
yeah. What
done?
is
Are we
going
still
on?
are we still shooting?
Yeah, what is going? What's happening?
What I usually like to go into the films cold. So even though we got the press summary and I saw your little bit of interview, a quote afterwards, because when I watched it cold. I'm like, wow, this really has the spirit of Scream. And then I
Yeah,
read your little summary of the PR that said, well, you were influenced by. I'm like, mission accomplished. I mean, it felt like an indie version of
yeah,
Scream,
yeah.
and I've seen other film artists, filmmakers try to do this, but it really felt like you were on point with this
Oh,
story. Where how did you get involved in this? Did you work with Joe and I believe it was Lucas,
Rob. Yeah.
Rob, did
So
you, yeah,
it
how did
it,
it all
it
come
happened.
together?
It happened actually like that was the point when we when Joe, Sarah, and I decided to to create our own company, production company,
Mm.
and it was like, what's the first movie we should do? What is it? So and we were thinking and thinking, and one night it was one of those hot tub nights, and Joe came up with that idea, and he said, "Well, Marcel, what do you think about this?" And he knows that I'm like I love like colors and all that kind of stuff, and he tried to think of something what I can go so I can go crazy with all that. So in a movie set on a studio in a studio is perfect for that because nobody who cares where the green and the reds and the blues and all the lights come from. Who the fuck cares? So he and then he came up with that idea and he wrote the script together with Rob and the plan was actually doing like more a serious movie
Sure.
and then he really like even after the first two pages with the whole opening and with Dave Sheridan and Serena Vincent, the whole dialogue between those two, you clearly see it's not a serious movie right away. So the all the amiable jokes, and actually I told him that's what I love about it because it is serious, but it's not, and
Right.
it's funny, but it's not too, it's not over, like it's not scary movie funny. It's a nice in between of all that. So you can, and especially at the end, it is serious, but you have fun till that point.
Sure. And that's where it's a lot like, if you don't mind me comparing it to Scream, I really
Go ahead,
felt
I love
I
that.
I felt the Scream spirit quite a bit, because
Yeah.
Scream was the same way, to where there was humor worked in the first one, especially the sequels of that kind of got a little bit out of hand later on, but
Yeah.
that first one had that to where it was a nice balance, but it ends more on a serious, scary note. Your film kind of takes that same journey,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed that quite a bit. Plus, being a meta film, I felt like you were kind of turning the mirror a little bit onto the indie scene a bit with this.
Well, yeah. It sometimes I okay, how can I say that without being the asshole? So it's sometimes things go out of hand,
Mhm.
and it's not quite like, look, the indie scene is really small, and it's it's hard, like it's not, we all know, all the filmmakers know it's not easy to make a movie,
Sure. Mhm.
and it's there's things going on, especially with the Indiegogo stuff here and there.
Sure.
It is, there's so much stuff going on with, and it doesn't feel right.
Mhm.
And I think is a good movie to make a little bit fun of that, just a
Right.
little bit.
Yeah. No, you weren't being, I didn't feel like it was being vicious, but I just think that you
No, no,
were
no,
maybe, pulling the veil back just a little bit and
absolutely.
making some,
Yeah, we did that. Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. That was the
especially
goal.
especially with the dialogue between and I was talking to Monique about it, between Lily and Harper, between Monique and Sarah French. Those scenes, I
Yeah,
loved those scenes quite a bit, because
thank you.
uh they felt like they were making the statements but not preaching.
No,
You know,
yeah, that was very important for us. It is
mm,
this. It is it puts, I mean, like a mirror in front of people, like kind of, but it's also, we know a lot of people in the industry, especially like I think we speak, or there's a character in the movie, and she speaks definitely for all the Scream Queens,
mhm.
and I think that was very important, and also like actors or I think we have some. Joe wrote some really good like dialogues in there, so people can refer to that. Yeah.
And he wrote a wonderful character in the form of Mason. I how'd you get Robert Donovan for the role?
The funny thing is, we thought about him pretty early in, like after he finished the script and reading the script and all that. We thought Robert has that I don't know, that his personality and all that. He has a great voice and all. So it was hard to find the, I mean, not hard to find, that's the wrong thing. So it wasn't hard to find the right person for it, but
Right,
it is a balance between being comical and being serious. But
right.
he has to be serious, and but people have to like him. So it was like a big balance, a huge balance between
Mhm.
that. But he was just amazing, and I enjoyed every single second with him being on set and seeing him as Mason.
And he had a lot of great chemistry with Monique, Lily. I
Yeah.
love their scenes together quite a bit. How did you get Monique involved? Were you thinking of her as well with this role when you were reading it?
Yeah, no, we thought about her. Actually,
Mhm.
Joe thought about her right away,
Sure,
writing the script.
sure.
Because Monique, she has that Hollywood glam. She
Mhm.
has that person, her personality, her look, her presence. That's just like, yeah, that's Hollywood, and that's, yeah. She, I mean, she. That's not, for some people that sounds, oh, that's, is that something good? It is definitely something good, and she's in Perth, like private, she's totally different, but she has that look and everything, and her acting is, it was just like on point. And when he mentioned her, I was like, yep, that's the right person.
And she seemed to really enjoy the role quite a bit, but everybody seemed to be having fun on this set. Did you have a long process to find your cast, or did you know pretty much who you wanted to work with when you were?
We knew. for that project, we pretty much knew like 80% of the people we
Hmm.
want to go with. Like Gigi, I always wanted to work with her. She's great. She's her spirit, her personality, everything about her. It's just like I
Sure.
fell in love with her on set right away, and then we casted her for Garden of Eden, and then now she's in the next will be in the next movie too. It's she was just amazing, and actually all the other people too. It's I worked with Ben Kaplan before. He was in Blind, and
Yeah.
we worked with Jed a couple of times. He was in Blind and Pretty Boy, so we knew actually the people we want to have in the movie, and then of
Sure.
course some new people joined the group, and that's yeah, that was very exciting.
And I enjoyed Blind quite a bit too. I got
Oh,
a chance to review that.
well, that's a very different movie to this one.
It is a very different movie. That's a more serious film, and you got serious elements, but you got your comedic elements in here.
Yeah,
Especially with your kills. You you now. And I'm going to compare this because I just finished recently watching Le Petit Mort 2, and I watched the first one, and those are have extreme scenes as well, but they're handled a little bit more of a serious weight to them versus
yeah. I mean, Love It More 1 and 2. That's like my I had so much fun with shooting those, but we did those movies for very little budgets,
Mhm.
very little. Love It More 1 was like 5,000 euros,
Sure.
and part 2 was 10,000. But we had fun with it, and it's like the typical torture porn kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
but you
it's funny that you saw those.
yeah, but it had a little bit of play to it, and then Blind is a more serious and interesting take on the whole stalker slasher type story. I honestly I feel bad. I haven't seen Pretty Boy yet. I've been meaning to see
It's
Pretty.
not out yet, but I hope
Yeah.
it's coming soon because we talked to the district finally, and they figured some stuff out. So I think we're on the right way
Oh,
to release
I
that.
hope. Yeah, because when it was making the rounds, I didn't get a chance to get a screen or review screener for it. I'm like, oh, because I loved Blind quite a bit. I thought the concept was great, and I love the concept for That's a Wrap because, like I said, other people have tried the meta look at with
Yeah,
indie films, but you really hit it on here. And what I really liked as well is where I mentioned the before the gore, you it's playful in here, but at the same time that took work. And you have a wonderful kill in here that I don't think I've ever seen the victim do what he did in this film.
I don't know which clue you're talking about, but
You know exactly what kill I'm talking about.
yeah,
When,
yeah.
when you're doing scenes like that, I always like to find out from the film director. Is there a point where you go, well, maybe we shouldn't do that, or do you just go with it, go with what you
I
envision, and forget what people think?
it look at the end. um, it's Joe wrote that scene, and I was like, okay, this is that will be fun. So, and
Hmm.
I knew right away that we will get away with a lot of things in that scene because of the funny
Sure.
aspect of it. It's too funny to think, oh
Right.
my god, what's going on? Um, but yeah, no, you have to get a feeling for the movie, and we all knew, okay, this is just perfect for the movie. You can't do that in any other serious movie, so we have to do it here. And no, it's. I think that will be the kill in the movie. People would say, "Oh shit, have you seen that?"
I've seen a lot of indie horror, and I've seen a lot of kills involving something similar to that situation. I've never seen that though. I will say you definitely brought something new and interesting and funny. It had me laughing.
Okay, great. That
I
was the whole goal. So people see that, and just I also have to say at that my the music composer like Klaus,
oh yeah.
he that scene I had actually no idea what he's doing, and he wrote me, Marcel, I did this scene now for the da 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 da. Please take a look. I don't know if you will like it or not, but I hope you will do because I tried something new. Okay. So I got the scene, and I was laughing. I I knew what's happening and all that, but he made this scene even better
Sure.
and weirder, and I don't know, everything. So I have to say that Klaus did a really good job with the music on that.
Actually, I was going to say the music in general really felt like it captured the style you were going for, that giallo, that kind of retro feel. I loved the music. I'm a big score
Yeah, me too. The score is so important for movies. It's like that. The score helps, or it will kill the movie. So yeah,
well, I mean, because you've got the great visuals already with the colors, so you know if you're a horror fan and don't know what you're going for, they need to
yeah,
watch more horror because you get that, and then you get that music that helps with it, and
yeah.
and, and that's what I loved is the music. You gave the chance music a chance to breathe because in some
Mhm.
films, especially the modern film, like the wide release stuff, you barely hear a score nowadays.
Yep.
It's
There's nothing special to it anymore. It's not like back in the 80s when you can hear, okay, that's that movie, or even the 90s. I mean, you could Scream, good
yeah,
example. They have like the feel, and there's the music. There is like, okay, that's from Scream. So even the new Screams, Scream 5 and 6, they don't have that.
no,
You can't, that there's, and only Scream 6 uses something from Scream 1 and 2. So you have, okay, that's the theme from Dewey, that's the theme from Scream, whatever. You get that feeling. But the movie by itself, the new score they make, it's not there. It's nothing like you say, oh yeah.
yeah. Yeah, you can't. I mean, might recognize occasional movie theme, but not nearly as standout as what it used to
No.
be. I mean,
Yeah.
my favorite score still is Basil Poledouris's Conan the Barbarian. I love
Yeah.
the score, but I love all of his work for sure. And I loved the music for that's a rap. It fits so well. I'm like, yeah, and then you get the colors in there. Now, was there some decision? It looked like there was some thought put into how and where you use the colors and what colors did you use. Was there kind of a process that you went through to pick how you were going to use the
Um,
color?
some some scenes yes, and some is like especially for the opening with the rain, we wanted something super
Sure.
colorful. So there's
Hmm.
like it starts slow and it's getting weirder and
Hmm.
weirder in the opening, and that's
Right.
actually the whole opening shows that's the movie. That's the whole movie. So if you when you like the opening, you find the colors which we use for the different scenes and through the
Sure.
whole movie, but also the humor is in it, the kill is in it. So that's the movie you get. Like that. That's it. What you will see the next 80 minutes, kind of. So there is yeah we I picked some colors for like different rooms, for
Mhm.
different hallways and all that. So yeah, there was a thought process, but at one point that just got crazy, and I thought, oh shit, fuck it, let's use this color and this color. Let's use put that in there too. Who cares? We can do whatever.
I particularly like how you dressed the scene with Stony and it was who was it, Carter or the reveal, the couple scene with them
Yes,
together. I just loved how that was dressed too. I was like, what is this house they're living in? Because this room just it was fun, but at the same time, I'm
yeah.
like, what kind of house does Mason live in?
That's actually yeah, yeah, but that's all the studio. So they met in
Sure,
the
yeah,
studio. So
right. But
yeah,
yeah, I love the dressing and then yeah, the death later on before the one we were talking about with the blood spray. I enjoyed
yeah,
it as well. How long did it take for that scene because that was a pretty
the
impressive
clean.
gimmick. Well, and a clean, I imagine, but did it
it,
take
it it took a while for the makeup and all that, because we our makeup and special effects guy Joe Castro, he knew, or we told him, okay, we want a lot of blood, so a lot of blood. And then we're not talking about a little bit or like a spray here and there. No, we talk about a spray. So he needed more like there's a whole thing going on Brandon's side, and there's like, because we needed also like a bigger kind of tube to get
Mhm.
a better and
Sure.
wider spray of it. So that was like a whole thing, and the original take was like pretty much a minute long.
Uh-huh.
So with blood spraying and spraying and spraying and spraying and spray. So it was, I think, what, I don't know, maybe it felt like a minute, but who
Sure.
knows how long it really was. But we had a lot of blood.
I liked it though because it went from kind of a serious kill to a little bit of humor because he just
Yes.
kept going,
Yeah.
it, and that's the type of humor that I enjoy. And you definitely work that in here quite a bit. The subtle humor, either the sarcastic comments from Lily or the other characters, or the banter between them as well. The chemistry between everybody seemed to really gel. Was there a lot of like pre-time where everybody kind of hung out, or did everybody just kind of click on set?
I mean, the good thing is it clicked pretty much on set a lot, but we did hang out before, but not really. But the people knew each other
Ah, sure. Hmm.
really already. But yeah, it helped a lot. But that just shows how good of an actor everyone is. So every single one talked to me before and uh, asked me. They told me what they think about the character, and that's what I like. So when an actor is thinking about the character and is not just reading lines, so that is so important, especially in the indie world, to I don't know, to stand out or whatever. So, and this is so important, and I love that our cast in That's a Rap, everyone thought about the character a lot, and you
Mhm.
can see that on screen 100%. And I'm not just saying that because it's my movie or it's our production, whatever. I say that and I mean it. It's every actor was like on point, and that was even easy for me as a director then, you know?
And it made me feel like maybe they were able to get into the characters because it's being a meta reference. They're kind of pulling from past experiences.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. We all put something in there we experienced before.
Sure.
So we're making fun of that, but and it's yeah.
But you're doing it with a smile, because I've seen
Oh,
movies that
100%.
that movies that make fun of it, but you get
No.
feel like it's mean spirited. But there is nothing
Oh,
mean
not at all.
spirited with
That's
this
not
at all.
that wasn't
No.
our goal to be mean or anything.
Mhm.
It's just like a to show people with a smile what the indie world is.
And I think you accomplished that. Now, how much time did you have to shoot this film?
This movie was shot in 8 days.
Wow, eight
Yeah,
days. That
yeah.
was impressive. That had to be a tight schedule.
It was tight, but it also that's also again. I mean, it was very like everything is in one location, so you
Sure.
don't have to
Mhm.
travel here and
Right.
there and there. So everything that happens in one night, which is easy with wardrobe, everything is very contained, and it's not. I mean, it's a big cast, but it's not a huge cast.
Right.
So that made it easier, and I think that's also like again, Joe wrote it really clever. So he knew, okay, he already thought about the pre-production and
Right.
the shoot and everything. So he was thinking already in doing the writing process about the shooting process. So that was clever, and also the actors, everyone nailed the characters, so that saves time, and everyone had the dialogues down, and we have a lot of dialogues, especially at the end, and every single one knew they knew their lines, everything, so that helps a lot too. um, and our camera team, Marcus, he shot a beautiful movie, but he's also really fast, so
Sure.
that sometimes it's also a thing. You get one thing, you can have beautiful but slow, or you get fast but well,
Yeah.
whatever. But he has that. He came into set, and that's the first time I worked with him, and he knew what I want, and um, he has the same kind of style I have, and that was just like a perfect thing together. Yeah.
Well, it definitely works. It definitely works. I like how you shoot a couple particular scenes, including one. There's a particular love scene in a hallway. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
with someone who I loved the gimmick with the one character where she spelt out certain words. I
Yeah.
thought
I
that
mean, this
was
is the script. That's in the script, but
Mhm.
even some lines she added to that, and um, wasn't the line "sex is so much fun"?
Yeah,
that was her. She
yeah,
thought her character would say that in that scene,
mm,
and she was right.
yeah.
So that's what I mean with uh the actors, they thought about it. So, and yeah, yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, I just loved all the characters. They were all great representations of different people. They were
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. But what I liked about how you shot that is there's some scenes where you show everything, and then there's
yeah.
some scenes where you keep it a little bit in imagination. You know,
Yeah.
how do you go about it? Is there a process of what you decide of what, or is it just what's in the script, or do you make some of the
Um,
calls?
this all this what you just mentioned, that is also in the that was also in the script,
Mhm,
especially the
sure.
one scene where we show everything.
Mhm,
Um, that is because that's also a big part of the horror genre,
sure.
the giallo, or even the independent. That's this kind of stuff is really also very important,
Right.
and that's why we even for that scene we went a little bit over the top. So who the fuck is showering at the after show party, like a rap party? Nobody does. But it's so over the top, and it's so because there's how many. I mean, I can't even count how many times I saw Giallo, and they did some really weird
Mhm.
decisions to show some sexy scenes and all that. And it's like that doesn't make any sense. But who cares? It's a movie. Have fun with it. You get what you want. So don't ask questions. So
Well, that's where I thought the script was fun. Is the self-referential stuff. You mentioned stuff here, and then you kind of play for a while. Then all of a sudden you're like, wait, they were just talking about this type of scene, and now
yeah,
they're doing this
yes,
type of. I
that
love
is
that.
that's that was 100% Joe, because he actually every single kill got mentioned before in a dialogue, and you have no idea actually at this point when they talk about it, but then when they get killed, oh shit,
Yeah,
that's yeah,
yeah. Well, what I loved about the bathroom scene, not to spoil too much, but just what I loved with her scene where she's cleaning her dress is
yeah,
she thinks she's using soap, and I love the label on it. And you don't really go anywhere. You're just thinking, going,
no,
are, are you not paying attention
yeah,
what you're cleaning your dress
yeah,
with, actually?
yeah.
But yeah, I thought she captured the Giallo very well. Was there any particular
Thank you.
films, Giallo films that you influenced you the most in your approach to this movie?
Not in this movie. Maybe my whole just me personal, I would
Mhm.
say maybe definitely Suspiria, the original.
Mhm.
Actually, all the 80s uh, Italian movies. There's a lot, and it's I'm a huge fan of that. And I also would say like American Horror Story is a huge
Sure.
influence for me. Huge.
Mhm.
That's something I would say if I would have the money, I would do something like that for sure. That's and I'm trying my best to, because that's just my style I have. I know that, and that's something I try to do in my movies with the budget I have. So yeah,
Well, I think you make the most of your budget.
yeah,
You really you spend it in the right spots, because sometimes you get that with an indie film where they focused so much on this that you're like, well, now you've kind of cut this short, but
yes,
you seem to spread it along well. Yeah. Suspiria is always a great one. And one we covered on my podcast a while ago was Phenomena.
yeah.
That
Another
one,
one.
one that I don't think as many people talk about, but I'm watching it going, wow, this is what, the Italian horror
It
really.
definitely has it has something special to it. Not every movie is great. That's
Right.
I'm more that's I have to say that too. That's not every movie is like, oh my god, that's a masterpiece. It's not. It's more about what it is and the style of it, you know.
Mhm.
So also opera.
Yeah.
That's another
Yeah.
another one. And it's I would say I'm a director. It's more like I'm very visual,
Mhm.
and that what helps me is Joe is very story driven and all that. If I'm on set on and I go crazy at one point, I always look over to Joe. Can we do that, or is it too
Yeah.
crazy. So that's why I'm happy to have him actually also like in the company. So he takes care of that, and
Mhm.
I can just because like I said, I'm very like a visual director, and
Mhm.
I can focus on that. And if something goes too crazy from my side, I turn to Joe and say, "Can we do that? Is it possible, or is that too nutty nut?" And he's no, it's fine. Or Marcel, what the fuck are you thinking?
But it's good you got that working relationship between, that
Yeah.
relationship between that you're comfortable enough to go, yeah, no, that's a little too crazy there. That's get dial it back a little because
Yeah, no, and I think you have to do that. And also, like, I mean, I started writing my when I started my Timor 1 and 2. I did I wrote my own scripts, but then at one point I realized, oh shit, I can't really write, so I should stop that. It's because sometimes I mean, I have a good idea, but
Mhm.
then the script is going like there's so many potholes and all that kind of shit. So I do understand when there was like reviews or whatever, and people say, and yeah, I get it. So it's that's the truth. So sometimes you have to um realize what you're good in and what not.
Sure.
And that's also something we have in the movie, because Mason Maestro is praising that. He's like, I made this masterpiece and it's clearly not. But
That
that's what
teaser
sometimes people,
trailer, yeah.
yeah, it's like that's what people sometimes think. It's, oh my god, I'm this and that, I'm the one of the best, and then you see the end product and you think, I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the better indie films I've seen when I've talked to the filmmakers, they say, yeah, once we shot the first cut, I gave it to like 5 people I know, and I said, be brutally honest with what you think
Yeah,
should be changed. And I think you kind of have to, and that's tough to do. I
absolutely.
mean, that's tough to do. I mean, it's one of those things where you realize that maybe I shouldn't quite do scripts. Some people don't realize that, and Mason's
Yeah,
one of them in the movie.
he's
So
definitely one of them.
that teaser that he wrote, made, I'm like, it wasn't a bad teaser, but he's just like, oh, that could be the final teaser right there. That could be the story teaser. I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah,
like, oh, okay, there, guy. You just more power
you,
to you.
yeah, you know.
And I think that's what I've enjoyed about the films that I've seen of yours is I'm a big visual guy too. I think
Yeah,
if it's film, it's a movie. It should be visual, and
I think so too.
if you capture it visually, as big as I am on story, but visuals especially, sometimes if the story's not all there, you got visuals that can make up for it.
Yeah,
But so some of the movies that I really enjoy, some people say are crap, and I go, yeah, but I love the visuals, like
yeah,
like there's a movie, Sucker Punch.
yeah.
Um, I enjoyed Sucker Punch. People look at me weird. They're like, I'm like, no, I love the visuals because there's
It
these
looked great.
these wonderful amalgamation
Yeah,
scenes where you have steampunk zombies and you have a dragon fighting
yeah.
visuals like that, and you get those visuals, and that's a wrap to where you get these wonderful influences, but they're just over the top, but they're so entertaining. Not just the one kill, but all the kills I thought had thought put into them, the way
Yes.
you
Yeah.
play them out. They're not just a simple slash or
No,
cut.
no, no, no. That's that's also something that's a rap is not, we don't want to be the a new gore movie or all that.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
it's fans have that, and fans have that with Terrifier, and Terrifier is great and all that. That's awesome. So, but we don't want to copy those guys at all. So that's one thing, and we want to be our thing. And that's a rap as a slasher is more like the Scream thing. It's more like a whodunit and funny and all that. So that's why we decided we have a lot of blood in there, but we are not over like
Right.
super gory. And but it is bloody, so
Yeah.
it's I think, yeah, we have like enough blood to make horror fans happy.
Yeah, enough to make the gore horrors happy. Yeah, you get
Oh,
enough in there.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Uh, how much of a challenge is it nowadays? Because there's so much out there now being made, so much.
Yeah,
How much of a challenge is it to kind of establish yourself with an identity? I mean, you do it here with That's a Wrap, but with so much out there, how much
Actually,
of a challenge?
it is so hard. It's
Mhm.
I mean, sometimes like when COVID started and you knew, okay, now the streaming platforms, they need new content. As an indie person, you think, oh, that's great for us, that's good. But then also we quickly realized, oh shit, now eh, there will be a lot of movies, so it's hard to stand out of that mass. You know, it's
Mhm.
there's like a shitload of movies, and it's hard to come out of like, ah, I'm here. um that's because everyone is so like overwhelmed with
Mhm.
movies and what's out there. So it is really hard to stand out. So we have to. There's actually nothing you really can do. Um, just do your best what's for the film and make a good movie, and then you have to hope that people will appreciate or like the movie and talk about the movie.
Mhm.
And that's actually the only thing you can hope for. So nothing else. Because also we're really happy with Quiver, but there's also a lot of distro companies out there. They don't care. They don't
Yeah.
care. So they just release the movie, hope they make their money back, and then at
Mhm.
the end, who cares? Because also on the that's what is also like not easy for the independent world is that Indiegogo thing. Because Indiegogo, you get your movies made, great,
Right.
that's awesome. But also on the other hand, some people, they don't care how much money they make because they never spend their money.
Right. Hmm.
So that's also so they sell the movie for nothing, and that's for and then distro companies realize, oh shit, we get movies for really cheap and free kind of. So people don't care, and that's hard for other people who actually have producers and investors and all that. Like that's we have for That's a Wrap, and then it's hard for them because they want their money back.
Right.
So it is that all that thing creates problems, and I think that's also a reason why everything is so there's so much. It's
Hmm.
just too much. Yeah.
Well, and it dilutes it a bit because
Yeah.
I think there's a certain stigma, unfortunately, when you say indie film. Many people get this immediate image because they've watched maybe 10 films that said they were indie films, and
Yeah.
they weren't great. Just
Oh
not
yeah.
everything's going to be great. So then,
I think indie is not a bad word because
right.
I consider A24 as an indie company.
Hmm.
And A24 makes amazing movies. So and high budget, or not high budget, but also bigger
Right.
budget movies. And what they do is, from my side, just amazing, and because it's something new and something special. And Pearl is actually
Oh,
one of my favorite movies. It's
Mia Goth in that is amazing.
she's just amazing. She's fantastic,
It is
and
so
the whole movie
horrible.
is
It's so
yeah.
horrible that, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying it's
No,
so
go.
horrible Oscars don't acknowledge it because Mia in Pearl, I liked Pearl better than X, and I enjoyed
Oh,
X. X was great, but
same.
Pearl was like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the fact that they shot that kind of on the
The
sly.
whole story in that X Pearl Maxime universe is just that's mind blowing for me, and I love every single thing on that. Ty West is an amazing director, and I love X, but Pearl is something I, I don't know. I was sitting in the theater and I saw I went with a group of friends. Some of them liked, some not, and I looked around, and it's very young
Sure.
and
Yeah.
like a young audience there. And some of them fell asleep, and I was sitting there smiling, and everything. The scene with her monologue at the end. This
Oh,
is just that's give her the fucking Oscar. What the fuck is going on? And I was smiling and happy because that was a masterpiece in every single way.
yeah. Well, and what she does for the credit sequence, I thought for a second they were going to do like a freeze frame, but they don't. She is just sitting there like insanely smiling and crying and that during the entire.
Everything. There's every single emotion a human being can have is there.
and it was just amazing. And yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. That was the one thing with COVID, with this big studios putting their like comic book movies on hold. A24 last year filled that hole in with so many wonderful films,
Yes.
and now we have indie films. I think more people at least discovered them during COVID,
Yeah.
and in a good way, because they realize there are great ones out there. I think
Yes.
I can't drop my review till the 20th, but let's just say I think It's a Wrap is wildly fun and a great indie meta film.
Thank you.
I wasn't quite sure what to expect going into it, and then watching
Yeah.
it, when I got what you were doing, and then how you do it. I appreciated that as a viewer, because again, like I said, it was like when Grindhouse came out, suddenly everybody was doing Grindhouse type style films, but
Yeah.
they some of them kind of missed the mark of what made the Grindhouse film. They just thought, oh, we'll just dirty the frame, throw this in here, and then you're like, this isn't really Grindhouse.
No, it was a huge budget production, and it's. I mean, I get what they thought about, but there was no grindhouse feeling at all.
It was too big budget for Grindhouse.
Yes. Yeah.
But everybody mimicked that later. They thought,
Oh
well, if
yeah.
we just do this, and it wasn't that. But at least we have folks, in films like That's a Wrap, and Blind, and A24 putting out stuff. There is good indie stuff out there, folks. And yeah, I it's why I fell in love with it, because it's like for every one of those films where you're just like, you get this film that you're just like blown away, that you're like, they made that on what? How
Yeah.
much? In what time? Uh
Yeah.
so bring it to That's a Wrap. Was there one scene in here in particular or whatnot that you thought was going to be just a challenge, but ended up just flowing like, wow, that went so much better than I thought it was going to?
Um, I knew the opening will be a challenge
Mhm.
because for the time we had and all that, and shooting that with Serena, we knew she will kill it no matter what. But there is so much going on in that little, like in those 10 minutes, with the rain machine and this shooting outside, inside, the kill, chasing here and this and that. So there was a lot, and that was actually the scene I was like most scared of a little bit. But it turned out so well, and we had so much fun, and Serena was so easy, and she said, uh, no, no, let me do that again. And then she did like her whole stunts by herself. And now I can do that this and way better. And she fell all these things. It was just amazing to see her. She loved everything about it, and that's just so incredibly nice to see that that little movie uh was like, even she thought that can be something, and let's do it.
Well, it was a great way to open a film that's a lot of fun. So, it's out 25th of
Yes.
August on VOD, but you're also getting to go to London, I hear, for a
Yes,
premiere.
London. We have the Fright Fest in London. I love those guys, so I can't wait. It's always a challenge to be like, and I heard the movie is, I mean, is sold out, so that's always like, okay. But I'm very happy to be a part of the Fright Fest again. Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like that's going to be a blast. And so you mentioned your film. What do you got next? What was it, Garden of Eden, you
Garden
said?
of Eden. Garden of Eden is it's definitely very different to that. Very different. It is very there is not one single happy moment. And, it is very different. It is very A24, I would say. If
Sure.
someone would ask me which kind of style does it have, I
Mhm.
would say it's like
Mhm.
midsummer-ish. It's a elevated torture porn, but it's not torture
Sure.
porn. It is very hard to say what it is, but um it will make people think and talk for sure. That's for sure.
Sure.
We have some scenes in there. It's very controversial.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stoking the fire, are you, a little bit there? And so what would you say is one of your favorite horror films?
My favorite horror films.
Yeah.
Okay, so definitely Scream, Halloween, my favorites. There is I consider Martyrs as a
Mhm.
masterpiece and one of my favorite movies. I can't watch it every day. So if that would be the case, there would be something wrong. But it's
Sure.
definitely a movie I would say this is a perfect movie because it keeps you thinking and
Hmm.
talking. I will never forget the first time I saw it, and that's something that's it's just a movie, but I will never forget that day because that day was ruined. It's I was sitting there thinking for hours of that movie, and the next day I decided, yeah, that's a masterpiece.
Hmm.
So the acting, everything in it, it was just perfect. So this is a movie. Um, I would say that's definitely one of my favorites. Scream because I grew up with, and that's Scream was the movie for me. Um, I was deciding, okay, I want to do that.
Sure.
I want to be a
Hmm.
director, and then it's more it's a TV show, but American Horror Story Hotel is for
Oh
me.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
season was wonderful.
this
Oh.
hotel was just I can't even say how that influenced me so much, and I was when I saw it for the first time, I was crying on my couch, and because it was so fucking beautiful. It was
Mhm.
perfect for me, and that because it is very visual. So
Right.
that's I would say, yeah, this that American Horror Story Hotel is one of the best things ever made.
Well, and I remember when it was coming out because there was like, oh, they cast Lady Gaga. Well, that's just a gimmick or what. And Lady Gaga just kills it.
I know.
She
I
just.
mean, she is I think her music is great, but she's a fantastic actress.
Mhm.
So and they even made fun of her after she got
Yeah.
the goal and everything, but
Yeah.
she was fantastic. Some people say she just played herself. Who cares? If that's the case, she did a great job.
I thought she did a great job. And
Yeah,
me personally, I like her music. It was funny because I knew her as the
yeah,
pop. And then I saw a special or whatnot where she did some jazz and blues, and I was like blown away because I'm like,
yeah,
I love that. And then I even have the Tony Bennett album she did,
yeah, yeah.
that was beautiful. It's like one of those things where I think people look at the pop stars and go, "Oh, that's just them," but then they see these other projects, they don't give them a chance. And yeah, I just Hotel is one of my favorite seasons of
Great.
American Horror Story
Yeah,
for
it is
sure.
very visual.
And it's very visual, yeah. Well, thank you very much for this, Marcel. This has been
Thank you.
wonderful to finally meet you. And where can do you have social media? Where can people keep up with
Yeah.
all the projects going on?
I Facebook not really much anymore, but it's Instagram. That's
Mhm.
my thing. I'm too old for TikTok, I guess. That's just there's too much going on, and sometimes I don't even know how to use the videos. So it's Instagram, definitely Instagram. Yeah, it's Marcel Walz official, easy to find.
Fantastic. Well, we'll put that out. We'll put links to everything for the webpage for this episode. I
Thank you.
appreciate you very much, sir. And
Thank you so much for having
hopefully,
me. That was a lot of fun.
oh yeah, it's a blast. And when Garden of Eden or whatnot comes out, love to have you back. So
Absolutely.
sounds great. Well, there you go, folks. Check it out. I think
Awesome.
you'll have a lot of fun with That's a Wrap and this podcast. That's a wrap.